How's it going, everybody, and welcome back. YesWelder has this new MIG welder out, and they wanted me to take a look at it, so they sent it out. It's pretty cool. It's called the Firstess DP200, 200 amp machine. It's got a bunch of cool features and stuff. It's even got a neat graphic. They threw in a helmet, so that's pretty cool. Apparently this will weld aluminum too. I don't know. We're just going to have to kind of get into that and see. It's got a bunch of features. So let me show you what comes in the box, and then we'll dig into it. Alrighty, so just right off the bat, this machine does come in solid black as well, but I got this, graphics package because I just thought it looked kind of interesting. Reverse thread on the spool holder, the actual drive unit looks alright. Pretty cool. It does say that, it'll do aluminum, so we're going to kind of get into that. It does MIG, MAG, which is metal active gas, I guess. Use CO2 with it, or a different shielding gas. I don't know. I've never really welded mag before. Of course, it does flux core. It doesn't come with a TIG torch, but you can get one if you want. Kind of the same with the spool gun. And of course, it does stick like most of them. So anyway, comes pre-wired for 220. It does have a 110 pigtail. It's a dual voltage machine. So you just plug it into whatever you have and it automatically senses it. Pretty nice. 7-inch display. I haven't even turned this machine on yet, so you're seeing it basically for the first time with me. All the knobs have a pretty nice detent to them. They don't feel super cheesy or anything. Comes with 3 feed rollers. One is a straight slot, one is a V, and then one is knurled, I believe. So one thing I noticed right off the bat is that all of the hoses and cables are super flexible and soft. They're not that cheap vinyl stuff. It's only like 15 degrees outside right now, so these are nice and flexible, so that's pretty nice. Big old beefy DINS end on it. You got your torch with the ball socket on the end, because it is kind of a big torch, so it kind of helps you out while you're using the torch, so it can flex a little bit on you. There you go. Stick welder stinger, ground clamp, standard stuff. This is for your gas. Pretty nice quality. So your CO2 bottle or argon or mixed gas or whatever you're using, that's what that's for. Comes with this as well. This is, I guess, the secret ingredient for welding aluminum. This is a graphene insert or liner for the torch. So you have to remove the liner that's in the torch and replace it with this graphene one, because it's a lot slipperier. I did have this roll of aluminum wire laying around. I don't know if it's the right stuff or not, but we'll give it a shot. Aluminum being so soft, I guess it needs to have this special super slippery liner to keep it from wadding up in the feed rollers. So anyway, we'd have to mess around with that. Comes with some consumables, a little wrench, the book, and then 2 spools of wire. One is flux core and one is solid wire. So that's basically what it comes with. All the stuff you need to just kind of get you going. It's a pretty nice looking machine, so far. So anyway, we'll just have to get into it and kind of see what it's all about. Alrighty, well, the last time I did a welder review, I did not show how to hook up all of the wires and all of the gas lines and all of that, and some people were pretty upset about it, even though it's in the instructions and it's pretty self-explanatory. But rather than deal with that again, I'll show you guys exactly how to hook everything all up. It's easy. Well, if you already know how to hook all this stuff up, you can skip ahead. But like I was saying, there were some people that wanted to see it all, so I'll show them how it's done. You have to look in your instructions or what type of welding you're doing as to how your electrodes are connected. But for what we're doing, ground side is going in the negative right there. And then your positives right here, because we're going to do some MIG welding. You don't have to super over tighten them, just get them snug. It's got a switch area here, and then also your spool gun area, so you've got the ports for those as well. But that's pretty easy to set it up. And then I guess this is called a Euro connector. So we'll go ahead and pop this thing off, and there you go. And we'll connect up the torch next. So here we are. Here's the torch. Here is the Euro connector. So it only goes in one way. There we go. Locks in. spin the collar down, and there you are. Your torch is connected. Pretty easy stuff. Trigger feels good. Alright, so let's figure out how to mount the spools, the wire, because this unit will take the larger spool. So you can get the big old dog giant spool with the large center. So, or you can use the small one like what we got included. I would assume all this pops right off. There we go. There we have it. Spring washers. There we are. Here's one of the spools that it comes with. 030 flux core, so you don't need gas with this one. You can use gas with flux core. I know people that do it. They call it dual shield gas or dual shield welding, but I typically don't. This is the only flux core spool that I actually have, this one. So we'll go with a regular solid wire. And there we are, 030 0.8 millimeter solid wire. So we'll go ahead and pop this in there, and we should be good. Here's your drive unit. Flip that down, you got your rollers, and then up in here, you unscrew this. This is how you change out your feed roller. So we'll see what ours is set at. I think it comes 035. Yeah, it's set at 035. So if you look at it, 035V, V is the steel ones. Down there, I guess that's in metric, so 0.9, but the V means steel. There's 0.8 at 030. We're using 030 steel wire right now, so this is one we're going to use. So you put the numbered side towards the back. You can see the difference in the size. This one is a little smaller than this one. This is 030. This is 035. So we want the narrower one, the 030, towards the back. There we go. Put the little locking nut back on, and now we're set up for 030. That's what we're using. I did open this up a little bit early without thinking. One thing to keep in mind, if you're new to welders, this is your first one or whatever, do not let this wire go, or this entire spool will just bird's nest on you, and you'll never be able to get it back. You'll have to throw out the whole roll, or basically take most of it off of the roll in order to salvage what's left. So always keep tension on the wire. See, I've got it taped up. Seriously, it'll be bad news if you don't. So we want the wire to feed from the bottom. As you can see, it's coming out through the bottom there. Doesn't matter if you're using their brand of wire or not. It's still the same. You want to feed from the bottom like that because it's going into here. One washer, one spring, the other washer. Again, they're keyed. And then we'll put a little bit of preload on this so that it doesn't just, spin too freely. You don't want too much preload on it, or else you can wear out the rollers a little bit. That's pretty good. You just want some drag on it. There we go. That's pretty nice. Then the idea is that you feed it through here, through there, across the roller, and down into this tip right there, this little receiver. If you've got a brand new roll, you'll want to cut the end off just to have a nice, fresh, clean end that's not all bent up to feed in. There we go. Pretty close. There we have it. We're good to go. So you get these extra feed rollers here and the tips and whatnot with it. That's what this little holder is for down here, is to snap in some of your more common rollers and then put in some of the tips that you would use. So that's what that little piece is there. I usually just kind of toss them in there at the bottom. Might not be the best way to do it, but it always keeps them in one spot, or I'll throw them in the bottom here. But that's what this is for, in case you were wondering. All right, one thing you want to check is your tip diameter. It's printed right on the side of it. This comes preloaded with an 035 tip. That's 030 wire, so I already switched this out with the 030 tip. You're going to need another wrench, basically, to hold this brass nut there at the bottom, and then you can use their wrench here to remove the tip and switch it out, just in case you're wondering how it works. But that's how you switch out the tip. If you want to change the liner in the gun, you're going to need to remove this brass tip here, which if you're going to run aluminum, you'll have to do that with that graphene liner. But for the most part, for what we're doing right now, we might try to do aluminum. We'll just see. We don't need to do that right this second. But for running all of the wire through the line and through the gun, you want to take this out. It makes things a lot easier. So we'll store that in their little holder for now. And I'll show you how to run the wire through the gun. It's pretty easy. You turn it on. It is nice that they've got a wire feed feature. Okay, there we go. Dark mode 2, that's pretty sweet. I'll show you how to use all this stuff for what I know in just a few minutes, but for just running the wire, we're going to stretch the gun out really good, and then you hold that. There we go. Hang on, let me show you what's going on here. I was telling you that the rolls can bird nest on you, and that is the beginning of one right there. We're going to put a little bit more tension on it. If you don't have enough tension on all of this with the roller and everything before you let go of the tape, this thing will just spring back all out. So you can kind of see it starting there, but you know, it caught it in time. But anyways, we'll just stretch the gun out as much as we can. You hold down this first knob. That knob puts it in like spool mode, so you can actually run the line out through the gun. Otherwise it takes forever. You'll be able to feel it start coming up through the end here in a minute. There we go. That's it. You just take your 030 tip, slide it down over the top, and screw it in. Pretty much that's it. That's all the setup there is. Just give that a little bit of a snuggin'. It's brass, copper, you know, you don't need a ton of pressure on it. Snip her off. Put your cap back on. We're pretty much ready to go. Alrighty, well, we've got our wire all fed through the machine. Torch is connected, gas is connected, everything's good, little fans running. So let's go through the screen real fast so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. It's pretty easy. It might look overwhelming, but check this out. If you go down to help over here, this is your selection and your like OK button. So if you go into help, it'll tell you everything that you need to know about the welder and all the modes and all of this different stuff. So how the controls work, you know, it runs you down through it all right there. So how to set it up, everything. So in the help section of this, it basically tells you everything that you need to know right in help. Even if you wanted to buy any of YesWelder's products or whatever, it tells you what the SKUs are. One thing that's interesting on this is it's upgradable. So you can upgrade the firmware using that USB-C port right there. So if there was ever like an update, you know, or something like that to the machine, it will actually, you can just update it like you do your phone. And there you go. So you got a bunch of cool things here. That's all in help. So if you go back to the very beginning, it's pretty easy to kind of just go through. What type of material are we using to weld? What is our roll of wire? Steel, stainless, aluminum, whatever. We're using steel. What type of gas are we using? We're using a 75-25 CO2 mix, your standard MIG mix, or we can select 100% CO2. And what we select changes the logic in the machine as to how it welds and all of the configurations it sets up for you for this like quick setup type of stuff. So we're going to be using this. If you go down to, let's say, aluminum, it's going to switch to 100% argon, and you can't change it because you got to kind of use 100% argon for aluminum. If we go stainless, you can see it switches to a helium trimix, and we can't change that. So we are using just steel. So there we go. We are on that correct. What size diameter wire are we using? And that affects what thickness of material the welder understands that we're going to be welding at with the diameter wire that we're using. It's also good to kind of just show you what's going on. So if we went up to, let's say, 0.35, how thick can we go? We can go all the way to 3/8, but we can't weld as thin. So we can only go down to 3/8. But if we go up to 0.24 and then select this, now we can weld, you know, the super thin 24 gauge, but we can only go up to 14 gauge. So pretty basic stuff. We're using 0.30, and you can see we can do a 1/4 inch down to 20 gauge using 0.30. But you can fine tune all of these settings yourself. We're going to be right in this range once I figure out what I've got laying around for us to weld. Trigger modes here, pretty easy stuff. 2T means you pull the trigger and the welder comes on, you're welding, and whenever you want to stop, you let go of the trigger. That's what 2T is. 4T means you pull the trigger once and let go, and the welder is on and you're welding, and you don't have to hold the trigger, but when you want to stop the welder, you pull the trigger again and it shuts it off. Spot welding here, any menu item that has a caret next to it means that you can expand it out. So we can go into spot welding, and it allows us to set the amount of time that we want the welder to be on. Once we pull the trigger, it'll stay on for however much time we set, and regardless of whether or not we've let go of the trigger, it'll automatically shut off. So you can weld like body panels on your car easier or something like that. So we'll do like half a second. We'll say that that's what we're doing. And then special 4T mode, you start getting into an area that I'm not familiar with. So different ramps and your pre-flow, how long should the gas run for before the welder starts its arc, and then how long should the gas run afterwards, and what wire speed it initially starts with and then drops down. There's a lot to it if you're into this. I'm just not familiar enough with it to be able to tell you really anything. We're just doing standard 2T mode. Memory, you've got 50 memory slots to use. So let's say you set it all up for a specific job, or you've got multiple jobs that you're running a lot of different times. You can, add your values in here or whatever, add a name to whatever this setting list is, and it'll automatically save all of that. And you can just shoot back through all of the memory to whatever job you're running. So it's pretty easy. What are we doing here? We got a spool gun or a MIG gun. We're on a MIG gun right now. This will turn on our solenoid to check whether our gas works or not. I don't know if you could hear that, but it just activated the solenoid. And here's kind of the fun thing. I don't even know how to use it. It's the pulse mode. So MIG pulse, I've never even had a machine that'll do MIG pulse. I've done pulse on my TIG welder, but never on a MIG gun. So I've never had to really set this up. But you go into your pulse mode, and you got, you could turn on single pulse, which is pretty easy. It comes on, it drops down in amperage. So your amperage might start at, 80, and then go to 60, and then back to 80, and then down to 60, and back, whatever it is. But then you can get into dual pulse, which opens up another menu where you can start changing the values of the secondary pulse and your primary pulse. So it's interesting. I don't even really know how to use this or set it all up. So one of you guys that are smarter about welding than me, you guys can let me know in the comments, or at least you know that it's there, because that's what it is. That's one of the big features about this machine, is the fact that it does have dual pulse mode. So we're just going to be using regular old single pulse or no pulse at all today because I don't know how to use it. If you go into advanced, you can start, changing stuff around your inductance and all of that, post-flow, pre-flow, backburn. You can start changing all that. Again, if you find settings that you like, then, you can, save it in the memory. So that's pretty cool that you can do that. And again, you got your help section here if you've got any questions or you need some help. Pretty sweet. So anyway, that's basically what we got going on with the welder. I guess I can go dig up some steel and we'll start playing around with it and see how it works. I'm sure it works great. I want to kind of try out the pulse section, so we'll kind of see what that's like. All right, well, I found just some random metal, some sheet metal and a couple other little pieces. That's that cool like monster welding helmet that YesWelder sent out with the welder. So this should be enough for us to play around with it and see like how the spot function works and all of that. So it should be pretty easy. Let's give it a shot. All right, well, I got some like 16 gauge out, some type of weird metric equivalent, I don't know, a little heavier than that. Maybe it's 14 gauge. I'm not really sure. 1/8 inch, some 3/16. Figure we'll try out the spot welding feature on this. Just kind of run some beads around, see what it's like, kind of go from there. So, if we can keep this in the right spot, just mess around with it and see what's up. I could probably just clamp it to the table, but make sure I get a decent ground. So on here, we'll make sure we're on, we'll say it's 16 gauge, 030 wire. Make sure that our air is correct, or our gas. We're on steel, 2T mode, no pulse, no nothing. So, let's give it a shot. Well, it seems all right real quick. Let me get some light. I can't see very easily. And we'll peel this off. Maybe it'll help you guys see some. There you go. You can kind of see the screen a little bit better now. I probably didn't have a ton of gas flowing through the gun yet. That was literally the first time that I pulled the trigger on this thing. Let me get some light. We'll keep on moving. That's seriously the first trigger pull on this machine. So I'll have to dial it in a little bit, but, whatever. We'll get there. Alrighty, I'm not even setting any of the amperages or anything. Just plugged it in and away we're going. Man, pretty terrible weld. Are we getting good penetration through it? I don't know. Am I low on gas? I'm almost out of gas, that's what the deal is. That and my metal was a little dirty. So, yeah, I'm like pretty much out of gas. Look at that. Not a bad weld though. Looks pretty good. Now I switched to a cleaner side. This is some dirty old nasty steel, so maybe this side had some contamination on it. I didn't clean it very well. I just scrubbed it down, but you can see it's got a pretty nice bead on it. We'll try the spot feature on this. I should probably actually wipe it down with some acetone though. There we go. Should be alright. I can't even remember what I used the roll-lock that I cleaned this with on last time. It was probably something super nasty and got some some grossness into this metal. Sorry about the rain. Not much I can do about that. Stick a magnet on there. Stick a magnet on there. We'll try the spot feature. Alright, I'm just going to clamp this right to the table. So we'll see if we can get a decent enough ground through that. It should. Trigger, spot. We'll go for 1/8 of a second. How's that? We'll see what that's like starting off. We'll just do it on the side here, or the open spot first. That's pretty nice. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I'll get you down closer. You can get an arc shot if I don't break the camera again. Alright, I've tried doing this before and the welding spatter shot up and broke my camera lens. So we'll see how this goes. Fingers crossed. The juicer up a little bit more. It's working pretty good. I'm not happy with my gas though, because I'm so low on gas right now, so my weld's pretty dirty. We'll do one an even second. Might be a little bit too much. Yeah, 1 second's a little too much. It's burning through a little bit. So yeah, it looks like 1/8 was perfect. And then we're getting too much with the 1 full second. Pretty nice. Look at that. Yeah, I got some burn through once we cranked it up a little bit longer to the full second. Then we were having some issues. So not the best, but maybe my gas is starting to clear up because, you know, it's really low, so who knows. It's a really old bottle too. But yeah, we'll play around with it and see. We'll crank it up a little bit and maybe weld this to that. Put some amperage to it. Play around with it some. Alright, it's going to be tough for me to weld it and also get you guys a good shot. So it might not come out great, but whatever. It's a little dirty too. I didn't even clean this one. So let's give it a shot and see. First thing, we'll go over here. Turn it back on 2T mode. What size is that? It's at least 1/8 inch, so we'll do 3/16 and try to modulate it some. I don't know. It's 3/16 and 1/8. So maybe we'll try it on, maybe we'll see what 1/8 inch looks like. Actually, I think the 3/16 would probably be alright. I'll hit it low and start trying to bring it up and pull it into this piece. So I think we're going to be good right here. Let's try it on the pulse too while we're at it. Why not? We'll try a single pulse on it. Single pulse on, 2T, 3/16. Why not? Wow, that's weird. You hear that? It's wild. Whoa, that's crazy. Man, that thing is cooking it in. Holy cow. Whew. We'll just use the dirtiest brush I've got. Wow, that thing's wild. Oh, I'm back on 035 wire for some reason up here. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do pulse with 030 wire. That's the thing. I can only do 035 or 045. So 035 with single pulse on, it won't allow me to. So it requires the thicker wire. I was just trying to tack it in. It's so dirty. We'll go up here. We'll just try regular MIG. So we'll just turn that off. There we go. Go back to 030. And then we'll try saying that we're welding 1/8 inch. Might get a little globby, but I guess we'll find out. So here we go. Let's give it a shot. See what it's like. I'll just try to tack it over here. Well, that worked out. Yeah, it looks good. Check that out. Looks awesome. Heck yeah. It's pretty toasty, but I don't think that looks too bad. We're set at 1/8 inch 030 wire, you know, so doesn't look too bad. We'll hit it on this side a little bit. I'll try to use it. I'll try to have the machine set up with the pulse as if I'm using 035 wire. We'll let it just run with it the way that it is and see what the weld looks like when we're done. Single pulse mode is on. It's set at 035 wire at 1/8 inch. Actually, it changed the air on it too. Or not the air, it changed the gas to a 90-10 mix. So, I don't know. I guess with pulse, you know what? Why not? We'll just see what it's going to do. What the heck? We'll just put dual pulse on. I don't know what that does. We'll just see what it does. Why not? I mean, I'm sure it's going to change the gas. I don't know what any of this is. We'll just, there's a way to reset it. Hold this down, hold one of them down. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so dual pulse on. I don't know, maybe that didn't do anything. So we're just gonna leave it the way that it is and see what happens. All right, dual pulse using the wrong size wire, the wrong mixed gas, and basically the wrong size steel. Let's see what happens. That's ugly. Oh boy. Yeah, that ain't good. So, I either don't know how to, either the gas is wrong, well obviously everything's wrong, I just wanted to see it. But, yeah, that isn't working. So dual pulse I can't use, I don't have the right gas. That's regular pulse, 035, you know, single pulse mode. We'll try this and see what this is like in regular pulse mode. crazy. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, I guess. Who knows? So this still thinks it should be 90% argon and 10% CO2. So my gas mix is wrong. And my wire size is wrong. But I just wanted to see what would happen. Seemed like it was melting in super fast, and boy is it hot. Whew. So there we go. It sunk some heat into it in a hurry. That is the dual pulse mode with the wrong gas and the wrong size wire. And then this is the single pulse mode with the wrong gas and the wrong size wire. So definitely, man, it put a lot of heat into that fast too. But I mean, it doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look super bad. And there's the standard old regular MIG. I still like this spot weld thing, man. The spot weld feature is really nice. You know, I'm not the best welder in the world. Keep that in mind. I'm not a professional. I work on cars and weld stuff together, but I'm by no means ready to go work in a nuclear reactor or something like that. I'd like to play around with the spot a little bit more, so we can hang out and do that some. We'll try the spot just on the top here. We'll try to fill that hole or something like that. Maybe catch it along this edge here and spot that stuff in. So let's turn the pulse back off. Turn our wire back to actually what it is. Turn our gas to what it actually is. We'll turn our spot since we're going to go up to 3/16 spot, and we'll see. So I can dump a bunch of heat into this big heavy steel first, and then maybe it'll drag it up into there, or it'll blow through this. We'll just find out. We'll just see. We'll leave it at 0.8, and we'll give it a shot. That's what's so fun about welding, is you just play around with stuff and find out. It's super fun. I think what I like about this machine is it's something I can grow into. It's got more features than I know what to do with right now, and I can learn those features as I get more experience and take on different projects. How does that look? I can't hardly see. Yeah, it's hard for me to see the way that I have to adjust the light and stuff for you guys. But hey, that looks pretty good. Yeah, check that out. Yeah, I like the spot feature. Look at it. Look at how, you know, those are all basically the same weld. They're really consistent. So there's no chance that you're going to accidentally overweld something, or, you know, if it blows through and you don't notice it, it keeps on going. That's pretty nice. Yeah, look at that. It's really consistent, those welds. And they're in there too. Yeah, spot feature's sweet. It's definitely working. Alrighty everybody, I was going to weld up some aluminum, or at least try it, but it turns out that I left my argon tank on who knows how long ago, and I have no argon at all. So it takes 100% argon to weld aluminum, and I don't have any. It'll be over a week before I could even get a tank. So it is kind of what it is. So as I was editing this video, I ended up finding another video by a guy named Bob, and his channel is called Making Stuff, and he really shows you in depth how to weld aluminum with this machine and how to dial in all of the different pulse settings for single and dual pulse mode. So definitely check that out if you're interested in those aspects of this machine. I'll leave a link to the video down in the video description here. It's chock full of great information. I don't have some of the stuff it needs for welding aluminum right now, so it's great that I found that. I just stumbled across it, so I'm happy to include that. Again, Bob at Making Stuff does an awesome job in that video, so be sure to check it out. The welder itself is awesome, and I love the features that it has. I'm not a professional welder, so a lot of the features I can't use, like the dual pulse and the single pulse. I don't have the gases to make it work and all of that. But that's the nice thing about this, is that as my skills develop and I want to move into kind of those different sectors of welding, I've got a machine that'll already do it. You know, I don't have to worry about trying to find another welder to do it or buying something else. This has all of the features that I could think that I would want. I can't even think of a feature on it that I would need. And then the memory stuff where you can save all your settings, that's pretty sweet. Because my TIG welder over there, I forget what my settings are all of the time because I don't weld all the time. So I'm always fumbling with all of the, you know, settings on that, trying to get it right. Whereas this, just dial up whatever setting I wanted that I named, and boom, I'm ready to weld. So that is really nice. So all of YesWelder's information will be down in the video description. I don't have a lift start TIG torch that fits this machine, or I would have tried that too to show you guys, but you know what? I don't have everything. I'm just a guy in a garage. But the machine is sweet. So if you want a welder and you need a welder, you might as well get something that's really nice like this. So give it a shot. Check out YesWelder. Thanks a lot to them for sending this thing out, along with the sweet monster head like welding helmet. That thing's super cool. I love it. And it worked really well. It actually, I'll be honest, my $400 and something Lincoln, that cuts out on me all of the time. And this didn't cut out on me once. So take that for what it is. I don't know what to say about it. But that helmet worked great. Anyhow, thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you if you're looking for a welder. It worked great for me. Like I said, it's got a lot of really cool features that I didn't even know were available on MIG welders. So give it a shot if you need a welder. And thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one.